Hello, hello, and welcome to PS10 Radio. This is your host, Angeline, and today is an episode of Stepmom 411. Today's episode, we will be talking about quitting. Have you ever felt as a stepmom that you just wanted to quit? You wanted to throw in the towel, just say, forget it. I don't want to do this anymore. Walk away, leave all your disappointment, your feelings of rejection, your lack of understanding or feeling understood, the lack of relationships with your stepchildren, or the lack of support from your husband, or the demise of situations and drama that have become over the years or over months time as far as your role as a stepmom. You just want to leave all of that behind and just start fresh, anew. Maybe find someone who doesn't have this baggage, don't have these issues, can handle their child's mother, or doesn't have any children already, who can understand and support you and be on your side, and you just start up as a team and remain as a team. Have you ever felt that way? Like you just want to quit? I completely understand why you may feel this way. And what I wanted to share today is just my thoughts on that. And I also wanted to leave you with some words of encouragement. So I guess to start off, I just want to, like I said, totally understand it, totally get it, why you may feel like you just want to quit. Like this situation, you're just done. You're over it already. You're done with it. Don't even want it anymore. And this may stem from a variety of issues and situations that have come up while you're married or while you're in this long-term relationship with your spouse. Maybe they're not supporting you. Maybe the ex is being so trifling and creating so much drama and creating so much strife and stress that it's managed to put a wedge between you and your spouse, or it's just made a bigger and bigger gap between you and your stepchildren becoming, friends or cordial, or, just having a relationship period. Maybe your in-laws are interfering too much and your spouse isn't really standing up to them. Maybe your relationship with your stepchild is just unbearable because your stepchild is just spoiled, rotten, or just disrespectful, or constantly getting into trouble, or constantly making trouble. Or they may have an Oedipus complex, or, it could be a variety of things. Maybe disengaging has made you look like, you're disengaging so that you can have the mindset to function in your blended family, but your disengagement also makes you look like to outsiders like you don't want to be in this marriage, or you don't want to be in this family, or you don't want these relationships. Maybe the financial strain of the child support, or the court fees, or the constant battle with trying to figure out our money situation, because now the children are in different activities that require more money. Maybe that is becoming an issue between you and your spouse, or a burden on you for whatever reason that may be. Maybe it's just hard to manage the household when you have one set of rules for your kids, and then your stepchildren come over and the rules are out the door, and it's like no authority is being respected. No rules are being followed. It's like starting over every time that you have your stepchildren over, and starting over again with your children, retraining them after time with your stepchildren. So sometimes that's a constant battle. And that could be very frustrating because as a parent, we are responsible for the environment, the home environment, and what it's like and how people get along and how it functions. And when there's chaos thrown in the mix and it's not functioning well, it can be very frustrating as a parent. We feel disappointed. We feel frustrated. We feel kind of defeated. Like, man, I put in all this work and got my kids on a good schedule, good sleep schedule. They're eating better, this, and that. And then 2 weeks later or the next week or the next couple days after the stepchildren come, your other children come to the home to visit. All that stuff is out the window. Maybe your stepchildren have been told and trained by their mother just to not engage, not even acknowledge you, not to respect you, not to follow your rules, not to follow your wishes. Maybe all of this stuff is happening that has caused you to feel like you just want to quit. And feel free to message us or let us know if there's additional things that we haven't even tapped on. I'm sure there's like a zillion reasons why people might feel like they want to quit. They're done. I've had it. I'm out of here. Peace to your blended family. But don't let the negativity, don't let isolated events, don't let people who are outside of your family or outside of your home interfere with your progress, interfere with your growth, interfere with your happiness. Don't let them interfere with your life and your love for your spouse, your own children. You know, there are ways to set boundaries. There are ways to help you to respond in a better way so that you can have the results you want and have the life you want. You know, we cannot control what happens outside of our family. Thus, you know, the mantra, you can only control yourself. This is something I personally learned. Friends of mine, acquaintances of mine who have stepchildren, we have all learned this in different capacities, in different manners, in different ways. But basically, when the bottom line is you cannot control how your husband interacts with their children, how your husband deals with the situation. You can't control that ex-wife or that ex-girlfriend, or you can't control how that unit ended up really dissolving, and you cannot control the hurt and pain that the children, your stepchildren, or even your children may feel with the ending of one family and the beginning of another. Sometimes it's very difficult, and sometimes it takes more than a couple years for people to feel any kind of happiness or to come to a place where they accept what's happening and what's going on. You know, it's like the cycles of grief. You know, you're grieving, you're kind of fighting it, you're angry. Like, why is this happening? You know, my mom is single, or I wish my mom, you know, would stay with my dad or take my dad back, and now he's got a new wife and she thinks she want to be my mom. And you know, you never know what the kids are going through, their thought process. You know, your husband may be feeling all kinds of ways, like, I just want everybody to get along, I just want, you know, this family, I just want, you know, my kids to feel like they belong in this family, in this household. I wish my wife would act this way or that way. So he's mourning his fantasy of how he thought the family would mesh together. And of course, as stepmoms, we're mourning the fact that we have to even be in a situation, and that our ideal fantasy of, I'll have his first child, I'll be the first, he calls his wife, I'll be the first that we'll parent together and do things together and grow together as parents and we'll be on the same page and discipline the same. I mean, even people who have, who do initially create a family together for the first time parents, they are not always 100% on the same page because we all come from different backgrounds. Our own personal beliefs and backgrounds that we experienced as children ourselves or growing up as ourselves, that affects the way that we parent, the way that we see family, the way that we, it could be either we want that or we want to get away from that or we want to create modifications of that. And it's okay. All of that is okay. The obstacle comes in when you try to be better, because the goal is always to have a better environment, a better family relationship and dynamic than you've ever known. Then, or maybe you want very similar to what you grew up with because you feel like your family dynamic when you grew up was pretty good, which is a beautiful thing as well. If you feel like you had a great close connection with your family, or maybe, you just had a good upbringing and you feel like, oh, when I look at my childhood, I was happy and I want my children to grow up that way. That's great. But take into consideration that the other person, your spouse that you marry or with, they may have a different experience. They may have a different childhood story, and that needs to be discussed before you even come together. And if you're already in a situation, there's no better time than to bring it up. It needs to be discussed at some point so that you can get back on the same page. Okay, you were raised this way, I was raised this way, but you know what? I respect you, I love you, and I want us to have this life together. I want this and that to happen. I want us to have family, new family experiences and create new family traditions, or I want us to incorporate these family traditions that I had growing up. I mean, I know for myself, I've incorporated, it's a funny tradition, but now I have this Christmas pickle that we do. So the night before Christmas, where me or my spouse will put the Christmas pickle on a tree, and the first person who if I do it, I make sure he doesn't see it. If he does it, he makes sure I don't see it, so that everyone but the person who put it on the tree gets to guess, like, where is the Christmas pickle. It's usually somewhere in the presents or on the tree. So with that being said, that's a family tradition. My kids, they expect that. So that's just something that we do. But, even like decorating all together, decorating the tree together, that's a tradition. That's something that I grew up with, that I incorporated in my present family. So, which is a blended family. So, like I said, sometimes we just want to quit because of all these other situations that are going on, but there's so much joy and hope that you can have in a blended family that quitting is just sometimes it's premature. It's premature. You don't give yourself a chance. You don't give your family a chance. And yes, things can last for a long time, especially if the children are younger. Yes, pretty stressful times happen on and off. And, like I said, been there, done that. But you can find some kind of common ground, and you have to be able to change your response to some of those situations, because that will help you to have a better situation in the future. Let me share with you words of encouragement when you feel like you want to quit your step family, quit your blended family. Let me share with you words of encouragement when you feel like you want to quit your blended family and you've just had enough. Been there, done that, totally understand it. Like I said before, number one, remain committed to your relationship with your spouse. Why did you even get into this? Hopefully it was because you made a commitment to your spouse and you did so out of love and wanting to build together as a family, as a couple, as a unit. So with that being said, remain focused on your united front, remain focused on your relationship with your spouse, and remain focused on the reason why you want it to be together. If you focus on that, it will totally shift from your focus on what everything that is going wrong around you guys, and it will help you to focus on, okay, let me do my part in making this a better partnership. Number two, consider changing your response to situations. Instead of looking at what's wrong and why things aren't working out and how this drama and that drama is happening and how you can't take it no more and how you feel like this and feel like that, consider looking at what are the positives. What is going on? Maybe he does act different when the kids come. Okay, well, that may be your opportunity to do some self-care activities while the kids are there, and you go and you have your long hot baths, or you go and shop for some new candles, or you go get your nails done, or you go and have coffee with a family member or with a friend. Maybe that's your time that you can, read a good book or, something like that. Do an activity or hobby or crafting or any kind of thing like that you can do. Maybe you can work on your business, whatever you're doing. Work, do something that makes you feel good, kind of work on your self-care. But, change your response. You don't have to respond to everything. Everything doesn't deserve your response. A lot of things that call for your attention, really, if you stop and think about it, you can change how you respond to it. And when you change your response, you will be very surprised at how how others are impacted by your response and your change in your response. It really does flow like a cycle or like a domino effect. It's like if you respond this way, then they respond that way, and they respond that way, you respond this way. And it's like at some point you have to decide, I'm not going to respond like that. And then number three, seek support, seek help, or seek refuge. Again, maybe you need to go talk to somebody. Maybe you need to talk to someone professionally. That's okay. All of this is okay to talk about it. Write about it in a journal. Exercise or do some self-care. Seeking help will help you to get through the situation, because trouble doesn't last always. It doesn't last a long time. You can get through this. And there's been several situations that you've already overcome and you've been able to experience some better times. So if you just stop and think and remember that and seek support and to get through it, seek help. Sometimes there are support groups for stepmoms that are local or online. Definitely do that. And lastly, I have a bonus for you. And this one is one that got me through a lot of rough times. Prayer. And I know it's simple. I know it's cliche, but straight up, pray for discernment. Lord, what do you want me to do? Am I meant to stay in this family? Because sometimes we get into situations without asking God, but we're trying to get out and we don't ask God. We're like, okay, I got in it. I didn't ask God. I'm getting out because I didn't ask God. But maybe you did get in it and you didn't ask God, hey, should I marry this person, or is this the right situation for me? And you went ahead and got married anyway, just, because you were in love or infatuated or whatever. But it's okay. It's never too late. God doesn't leave us. Just dig in deep, take time to yourself and ask for discernment and ask him, what do you want me to do, Lord? And do I need to leave? Or do I need to stay? And if I need to stay, how? How do I get through each moment? How do I get through each situation? Show me. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode of Stepmom 411, and please consider these 3 steps before you seriously think about quitting or try to quit. As always, be the best you that you can be, one positive step at a time. Peace.